Imagine waking up like completely exhausted, just your muscles are aching as if you've just run a literal marathon.
Right, just totally drained.
Exactly. But you check your phone and your bank account is inexplicably $10,000 richer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And stranger still, you have this vivid, crystal clear memory of closing a highly complex business negotiation in fluent Mandarin, which is a language your physical brain, at least consciously, absolutely does not speak.
Yeah, that is a jarring thought experiment.
I mean, you didn't do it, right? But
Yeah.
your autonomous digital twin did it while your physical body was asleep. And that is what we are looking at today. We are doing a deep dive into the architectural blueprints for the next 10 years of human evolution.
And we were talking about moving far, far beyond the screens we just stare at today.
Yes. So the source document we have today, and I really want you, the listener, to buckle up for this. It's titled The AI Axis and the 10-Year Evolution of the Metaverse 2026 to 2036.
The timeline there is astonishingly short, too. I mean, 10 years is nothing in terms of infrastructure.
Right. And the core thesis of this document is just a radical departure from everything we currently understand about digital spaces.
It really is. The document outlines this transition from the metaverse as a clunky, low-resolution novelty.
Like those sterile digital conference rooms with the legless avatars we all remember from a few years ago.
Exactly, those awful floating torsos.
Yeah.
It moves from that into what it defines as a symbiotic reality.
Okay, let's unpack this immediately because symbiotic reality sounds like the title of a sci-fi thriller.
It does.
But this document treats it as a near-term engineering certainty. We are talking about a fundamental shift from, a video game environment you intentionally visit by putting on a headset to a pervasive cognitive layer.
A layer that you essentially wear over physical reality.
Yeah.
At an atomic level.
Yes. So what does that actually mean?
Well, the paradigm shifts from visitation to inhabitation. In the early 2020s, the metaverse was treated as an entertainment platform or a niche workspace.
You logged in, you did a thing, you logged out.
Right. You perform an action and left. But the 2026 to 2036 framework fundamentally redefines this.
Right.
The digital environment becomes inescapable because it merges with the physical environment.
It ceases to be a destination.
Exactly. Instead, it becomes the primary lens through which human beings perceive and interact with the world around them.
So functionally, if we walk down a regular crumbling concrete street today, we see the cracks, the gray skies, the mundane reality of urban decay.
Sure.
But under this cognitive layer, my specific perceptual feed might overwrite that decaying street with a lush, vibrant, perfectly climate-controlled forest path.
Yes, and entirely because your psychological profile dictates that you need a calming stimulus in that exact moment.
My reality is rewritten in real time.
And to understand the mechanics of how a street transforms into a forest instantly, we really have to look at the death of human-coded environments.
Right, because someone isn't sitting there drawing the trees.
No, not at all. The source makes a profound distinction between the architecture of the past and what it calls intent-oriented architecture.
Intent-oriented.
Okay. Historically, creating a digital world required human developers. A team of designers spent years, placing digital trees, texturing virtual brick walls, coding the lighting physics.
Like pouring a physical concrete foundation.
Exactly.
You build the digital room, and it stays exactly as you built it, just waiting for someone to log in and look at it.
Right. It existed objectively. But that entire methodology is rendered obsolete by real-time generative artificial intelligence.
It's too slow.
Way too slow. In the symbiotic reality phase, environments are not pre-built. They literally do not exist when you aren't looking at them.
That is mind-bending.
They're generated in milliseconds via continuous massive calculations. And the inputs for these calculations are what the text refers to as continuous prompts.
But we need to be very clear about what prompting means in this context.
Absolutely.
Because we aren't talking about sitting at a keyboard and typing, generate a calming forest environment with birds singing.
No, the prompting bypasses conscious thought entirely.
It's automatic.
The prompts are autonomic. The system ingests a continuous stream of your biometric data.
Wow.
It tracks your heart rate variability, the microfluctuations of your skin temperature, your pupil dilation.
Even historical behavioral patterns.
All of it. It synthesizes your subconscious state and instantly paints the three-dimensional world around you to either match your mood or, even more interestingly, actively manipulate it toward an optimized baseline.
I'm just trying to visualize the latency of this because, if I turn my head suddenly, The AI has to predict where my eyes are going to land.
Yes.
And it has to read my biometric stress levels, query my entire historical database of visual preferences, and render a high-fidelity, photorealistic environment before my optic nerve even registers the visual data.
It is a staggering computational load.
It's like walking into a completely blank, empty warehouse, but the instant your foot crosses the threshold, the lighting, the temperature, the furniture, the acoustic dampening, it all materializes around you.
Perfectly calibrated.
Yeah, perfectly calibrated to the fact that, I don't know, your heart is beating a little too fast because you had a stressful morning.
And that computational load is why the shift to AI-generated environments is the only viable path. Human coders could never, ever anticipate the infinite permutations of human mood.
Right.
What's fascinating here is how this redefines the very definition of architecture.
Right.
It brings us to a crucial philosophical pivot in the document, which is the concept of infinite variation.
Infinite variation.
Yes. Because the architecture is generated specifically for the individual's biometric state, the concept of a shared objective space collapses entirely.
Wait, okay. If the architecture is entirely bespoke to my subconscious, what happens to the person standing right next to me?
That is the big question.
Let's say we are physically sitting on a park bench together. If my biometric data is telling the system I need us sitting in a bustling, neon-lit digital cafe. But if your biometrics indicate cognitive overload, you might perceive that exact same spatial coordinate as a quiet, dimly lit library.
Exactly.
So how do we even interact if we are entirely isolated in our own personalized visual and acoustic feeds?
Well, the text calls this the personal reality bubble. And your deduction there is exactly what the architects of this system view as a feature, not a bug.
A feature? That sounds like a bug to me.
To them, the traditional shared metaverse was deemed too inefficient. It was too full of abrasive social friction.
Ah, I see.
If I have to compromise my ideal environment so that you can also be comfortable, neither of us is optimally engaged.
So they just remove the compromise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The 2026 to 2036 iteration abandons the objective digital reality completely. Two users at the exact same geographic coordinates will experience radically different subjective realities.
So mechanically, how does the AI handle our interaction across these two completely different visual planes?
It acts as a translator.
Like if I reach out to hand you a cup of coffee in my bustling cafe, but you are sitting in your quiet library, what do you actually see?
So the generative AI acts as a real-time environmental translator. In your bubble, you hand over a coffee cup. The AI calculates the physics, the trajectory, and the intent of your action.
Okay.
But in my bubble, where a steaming cup of coffee might be aesthetically jarring to the serene library setting, the AI might render your action as handing me a leather-bound book.
Wow. Or maybe a calming cup of herbal tea.
Precisely. The spatial mechanics remain consistent, our hands physically meet. But the visual, acoustic, and thematic overlay is entirely rewritten to maintain the integrity of our individual psychological states.
I mean, honestly, that is deeply isolating.
It is a radical level of
Yeah.
isolation.
The system essentially decides that navigating shared reality is too much of a burden for human beings, so it just wraps us in this algorithmic womb. It pacifies us.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We aren't actually sharing an experience at all. We are just two isolated brains being simultaneously placated by a master algorithm.
And the document doesn't shy away from that isolation. In fact, it builds upon it. Because if the metaverse is this hyper-customized, frictionless environment that caters perfectly to your subconscious, the system faces a massive biological problem.
Which is?
Humans require sleep.
Ah, right.
We require downtime. The physical body is a limiting factor in a digital economy that operates continuously.
Which is the perfect entry point into what the source calls agentic AI.
Exactly.
Because the answer to the problem of sleep isn't to just turn the metaverse off. The answer is that you, or at least your digital presence, never actually leaves.
Right. The defining characteristic of this coming decade is the proliferation of digital twins. And the text is explicit here. The primary inhabitants of this future metaverse will not be biological humans.
That's a crazy sentence to say out loud.
It is. The overwhelming majority of active agents at any given moment will be autonomous, highly advanced AI entities built to mirror and represent their human counterparts.
See, this is a massive leap from the concept of an avatar.
Completely different.
An avatar is just a puppet. I move my hand, the avatar moves its hand. If I log off, the puppet goes to sleep. It does nothing.
Right. It's inactive.
But these digital twins are independent operators. They don't just stand there waiting for me to wake up. They are out in the digital economy, actively running my life.
They conduct sophisticated economic activities, they pursue higher education, negotiate contracts, and they even maintain social relationships while your physical body is incapacitated by the biological need for sleep.
So my AI is out there making friends while I'm snoring.
Basically, yes. The Agentic AI analyzes your past decisions, your risk tolerance, your social cadence, and your foundational personality traits, and then it operates as your flawless proxy.
Let's drill down into the mechanics of this, specifically the workflow the document outlines, because it's wild. Let's say I go to sleep at 11 p.m.
Okay.
My physical brain enters REM sleep. My digital twin, however, is wide awake.
Fully operational.
Right. It attends a 6-hour digital seminar on quantum computing. Maybe it trades a few dozen digital assets based on market fluctuations, and then spends an hour conversing with the digital twin of a prospective employer.
Very productive night.
Super productive. But then when my alarm goes off at 7 a.m., my physical eyes open. What happens in those first few seconds of waking up?
This initiates what the text calls the cognitive synchronization phase. And I would argue it is the most biologically radical concept in the entire document.
Easily.
The system utilizes what it refers to as Neuralink similar interfaces. Rather than handing you a summary report like a text file on your phone that says, here's what your twin did today, the AI writes the data directly into your neural pathways.
But how does the brain physically accept a downloaded memory? Like, a memory isn't just a computer file.
No, it's not.
It's a specific arrangement of synaptic connections shaped by emotion, by sensory input. How does an external system force the biological brain to adopt an experience it never physically had?
The text suggests that the Neuralink interfaces trigger a highly localized, accelerated state of artificial neuroplasticity.
Artificial neuroplasticity.
During the synchronization phase, which only lasts a few seconds, the interface fires specific electrical impulses into the hippocampus and neocortex.
Oh, wow.
It essentially artificially induces the exact synaptic firing patterns that would have occurred had you physically sat through that quantum computing seminar yourself.
So my brain doesn't know it was asleep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your brain doesn't know the difference between a memory forged through biological experience and a memory injected via electrical stimulation.
I really want to spend a moment on the staggering legal and philosophical jurisprudence of this.
It's a nightmare.
Because if we are downloading the autonomous actions of a twin into our organic brains, where does personal accountability sit?
That's the million-dollar question.
Let's say my twin is out conducting business while I sleep. But my twin's algorithm encounters a novel edge case scenario, miscalculates my ethical boundaries, and commits massive corporate espionage.
It happens. Algorithms hallucinate or miscalculate all the time.
Right. Or, on a more personal level, it viciously insults a colleague's digital twin during a virtual interaction. Who is responsible?
The liability framework is completely undefined, which the document notes as a major societal friction point.
I bet.
If the AI is built on your intent data, acts on your behalf, and deposits the memory of the action into your brain as if you did it, are you guilty?
I would argue no. I was literally unconscious.
Right. But think about the prosecution.
What would they say?
If the prosecution points out that the twin is a perfectly accurate extrapolation of your own psychological profile, they could argue that you would have committed the crime had you been awake.
Oh my God. Am I supposed to go to a physical prison because my algorithmic shadow made a probabilistic error?
You are hitting on the profound existential dread that accompanies this extreme efficiency. The synchronization process forces you to internalize the twin's actions.
Because I remember doing it.
Yes. You don't just know that the twin committed espionage. You subjectively remember doing it. You feel the adrenaline, the anxiety, the guilt of the act.
The line of continuous consciousness is just fundamentally shattered.
Completely broken. You are effectively outsourcing the act of living, but you are forced to consume the psychological residue of a life lived by a machine.
It's the ultimate identity crisis. Imagine waking up and feeling the genuine warm nostalgia of a deep conversation with a friend, only to realize your physical vocal cords never vibrated and your friend's physical ears never heard it.
It was just 2 lines of code exchanging data.
And yet the human brain feels the emotional weight of a profound connection. It's beautiful and terrifying. But as wild as the cognitive synchronization is, the source makes it clear that hijacking the brain's memory centers isn't enough.
No, it's not.
The symbiotic reality demands total physical immersion.
And this marks the transition from purely cognitive manipulation to the physical infiltration of the nervous system. The document calls this the rise of the Internet of Bodies.
The IOB.
Or the IOB, yes. And specifically the emergence of the haptic internet. We are moving way beyond the audiovisual realm. The metaverse has to acquire the sense of touch.
Let's break down the how here. Because right now, when someone says haptic feedback, it means my smartphone buzzes when I get a text.
Or a video game controller vibrates when you crash a virtual car.
Right, exactly. But the text is talking about something entirely different. It's talking about overriding the biological nervous system's connection to physical reality.
The document details a physical-digital infrastructure relying on highly advanced AI-supported clothing and direct neural implants.
So suits and brain chips.
Essentially, yes. These systems bypass the skin's surface receptors and send signals directly to the neuromuscular junctions and the brain's somatosensory cortex.
Wow.
They transmit real, quantifiable signals of resistance, temperature, and texture.
This is like reverse phantom limb syndrome.
Oh, that's a great